Catherine Fiore, EU reporter. Can I ask you about there's Article 49 that refers to the Good Friday agreements and the UK's commitment to North-South cooperation and to avoiding a hard border. Am I correct in understanding that if there are no solutions, the default position is that the UK will remain within the single market and customs union? Thank you.
Vous ne comprenez pas bien.
No, you haven't understood that well. And you'll find this in the text. The UK has confirmed that is its choice, that beyond its decision to leave the EU, we've taken good note of that, and we respect that choice, even we regret it. The British government has confirmed that it is wish also to leave the single market and the customs union, which is not obligatory. There are countries who are not EU members who are part, because that is their wish, whilst respecting all the rules of the single market. But that's not the choice taken by the UK, so you have not understood that well. What it says in the text, in that paragraph you refer to, and it is an important paragraph, is that either option one, the future relationship which we now have to build with the UK, will enable us to settle all or part of the issues so there is no hard border on the island of Ireland, or option two, something else which will have to be sought, and the UK has committed itself to this, because if you like, it's the UK's withdrawal from the EU and the single market that creates the problem, and its decision can render fragile North-South cooperation. But 142 forms of North-South cooperation under the consolidated framework of the Good Friday Agreement, and I've often said that most of this North-South cooperation, which involves the daily life of the citizens of Ireland and Northern Ireland, are supported by EU law. They are underpinned by EU policies, and indeed frequently by the EU budget, not just from the peace programme. So by withdrawing, the United Kingdom creates a problem, regards all that cooperation. So I think it's important that the UK should recognise its responsibility in that respect and commit itself to finding solutions to these problems. Solutions which will respect the integrity of the European single market, the customs union, and our decision-making autonomy. And I can well imagine that on the basis of these principles we'll have to work on finding common rules. Mrs. May mentioned the electricity market, for example. I myself could mention another point I'm familiar with as former Minister of Agriculture in my country, Agriculture and Fisheries. You can't imagine the island of Ireland with several different regulatory frameworks running in parallel on such an issue which is interest to the people of the island as prevention of animal disease. Quite clearly, in that case, I mean, I can mention others, there will be a need to work together and to work on common rules and apply those rules together in the shared interest of the life of the people in the economy. Just two examples there. But each thing in its time. The most important thing was, first of all, that we should reach a shared reading of commitments and conditions which will enable the common travel area to be maintained, and which will allow us to respect the spirit in all its dimensions of a Good Friday Agreement. That is where we are. Now we have to work. Give us some time on the solutions.
Daniel Brössler, Süddeutsche Zeitung. Excuse me, but I'd like to follow up on that because I'd like to follow up on that because I still don't understand it. The sentence says, in the absence of agreed solutions, the United Kingdom will maintain full alignment with those rules of the internal market and the customs union which now or in the future support North-South cooperation, and so on. Two questions about that. Are we talking here about a couple of rules, not many, or is that actually, in essence, the key? And the second question, would that then, in that case, affect just Northern Ireland as a special zone, or would that then affect the entire United Kingdom? Thank you.
Mais
I can hardly do better than repeat what Theresa May said this morning. Some of you were there. It was very early in the morning. It's a unique situation, therefore specific solutions are needed. That's a very clear line. And the UK's line is very clear too. We shall work on solutions which will be relevant only to the island of Ireland and Northern Ireland and not other parts of the United Kingdom. Now, will these solutions be comprehensive? Now, I was referring to your question, madam. Will this be comprehensive? There are all kinds of different forms of cooperation. They're not relevant to every dimension of the single market. So what this paragraph says is this. Where there is cooperation, north-south cooperation, which is important for stability in Ireland, where that is the case, we and the UK shall look for specific solutions which will make it possible to maintain that cooperation which is consistent with the rules of the single market and the customs union. I can't say anything different today. I won't say anything different today. I understand your impatience, but it's one step at a time. When you climb mountains, I come from a mountain region, one has to take things step by step. We've got over a major hurdle today. We had to agree with the UK on this common understanding of our commitments, their commitments, in the Good Friday Agreement before we started work on practical and specific solutions. An important point in my earlier statement is this. All of us, if we are to achieve everyone's objectives. I'm listening to everybody in Northern Ireland, all the political parties in the Republic of Ireland, in London, in the European Parliament. If we are to achieve everyone's objectives, we want to avoid a hard border. We want to uphold the Good Friday Agreement fully in all its dimensions. The UK is a co-guarantor of that agreement. We want to preserve the common travel area. So that's the objective which everyone asserts. I'm not mistaken in saying that, I think. Well, if we are to achieve that objective, everyone has to shoulder his responsibility.